Hey, what's up? It's Whistle, and welcome back to Timberborn. Today's episode of Timberborn is going to be something a little bit different because we are going to go ahead and start off with a new civilization entirely. And not only are we going to be doing that, we are going to be going with the Iron Teeth faction. So the Iron Teeth are defectors of the traditional timber ways. They mastered iron and science to build advanced machinery. They achieve progress through ingenuity, efficiency, and disregard for the environment. Their motto, work hard, work hard. If that doesn't get you fired up for a game about building beaver cities, I don't know what does, because nothing probably will. So we're going to go ahead and get this little game started. I don't know what map to pick. I haven't gotten that far. Let's go. I don't know what any of these look like, so we're just gonna go in blind. Maybe let's do. Let's see. I have terraces on the main one. Mountain range sounds fun. Let's do that. And in addition to going with the Iron Teeth faction, which is a more difficult faction, which we'll get into in a minute, we're gonna go and play in hard mode. So hard mode means that we start with less resources, as well as droughts become more severe quicker, and then they become worse and worse as the game progresses. Meaning you have to make sure you have plenty of water in order to really survive. So let's go ahead and load on in. Okay, so here we are also at a point where I have not seen before because I haven't started up a new city since I started the previous year's series that I'm working on, which was before the new save mechanics and such. So we're just going to call this one Iron Teeth. Oh, I can't spell. There we go. So we're just going to call it Iron Teeth. I think I can rename that if somebody has a name for a district, or I'm sorry, not a district, I'm used to that. If somebody has like a city name for me, go ahead, leave it down below in the comments. I will take a look at it and consider it. But otherwise, we're going to get started. So the this series here, I'm not going to have it be like a main series, I don't think. I'm probably just going to record an episode here and there. We'll see how it goes, but right now my main priority is going to be the other series that I have with the, what is it, the Folk Tales, I believe. So it's I have a nice big series on my channel. If you guys haven't seen that, go ahead, check that out. I'm trying to up the content game over there, but otherwise, yeah, we're going to get started on this. And this is just going to be something that we build over time. So, again, have not seen this map. So let's, with the game paused, let's do a quick exploration. We're going to zoom out a little bit. So the first thing that I see is that the water comes up from this river here and winds up going down to a whole bunch of different waterfalls. That's really awesome. And looking at this, it's going to be pretty easy once I get planks and stuff to turn this into a little reservoir and everything. And the Iron Teeth have some really awesome buildings, which again, we'll get into as we go. But I could turn this whole little strip here into a reservoir without really any dynamite. It's going to be nice and deep, which is fantastic. And there's also, ooh, that's a large river section going over here. Where does that connect up? We're just exploring a little bit. Ooh, right up there. Okay, I don't know how practical that's going to be to get water up there, but I guess we could try to figure that out. But this map is a lot smaller. So the other map that I had, terraces, I believe, that's 256 by 256. This map is half the size, which means theoretically half the resources and all that fun stuff. So it's going to be something important. The Iron Teeth, the main thing that the beavers themselves are special about, I guess, is the fact that they will not reproduce purely based on whether or not there's enough space in the houses for them to reproduce. I don't think I have it unlocked quite yet. I do. So they have something, it's called a breeding pod. So it's just like a little barrel, which I'll put a couple of these down after I get some basic stuff. And we'll go a bit more in detail, but all of my babies have to come out of a breeding pod, which requires some resources. So it is a little bit more difficult to get the colony to grow sometimes, especially early on, because you can run into an issue where like you're just not ready for your first drought, and then all of a sudden all your beavers die. And at least with the other faction, there's a chance that like one or two babies may wind up growing up into adulthood to at least like get you through the drought and whatever. But With this one, not so much. So we are going to start this off in a very similar way to our last playthrough. So we're going to get a couple paths going around the center of the district center building, whatever you want to call that. And we are going to just put down a few paths. Like, let's just go straight on down that way. Maybe we'll hitch out over here. This could be 1 or 2 water pumps down the road for us. We could put a lumberjack flag right over here, and then probably even just right off this little path here, we could put a little gatherer flag and get those berries. So we're going to place that down. Let's also place down a lumberjack flag, and let's do a single water pump. Maybe 2 lumberjack flags would probably be smart. Yeah, let's do 2. So the other thing, looking at this map, there's not a lot of wood. At least not yet. Like, obviously, you know, looking up here, that's quite a bit. This is all pine. So let's actually, just for the sake of letting all these trees grow in, because once I exhaust all of these dead ones here, this little chunk down here is going to be my main source of wood, at least until I unlock the forester. Which, if I play my cards right, I can get the forester up and running before this becomes an issue. I will also need to put a dam over here, so I will have access to some of this wood. But that's really about it. I just kind of have this stuff up here, which this is all pine. There's a couple, not mahogany, a couple maple trees up here, but those require stairs and such, and I just don't have the technology. So let's go ahead, put in a couple pathways over here. Let's just up this to a 4. Yeah, let's do 4 builders there. And let's go ahead and tell everybody, let's just start chopping some trees. Now, I don't want to go totally crazy because I want to keep an eye on the resources, make sure we don't like overextend ourselves. But we need to get a water pump. That's going to be priority number 1 once we get everything rolling. And if you guys notice the name up here, it is Deep Water Pump. So the maximum depth that this can pump is 6 blocks down, which relative to the other faction, theirs is only 2. So this is going to allow me to get significantly deeper, which means my reservoirs don't need to be as large. Like, I don't need to build a stupid big one. I just need to build one that's really tall, and that will wind up giving me more use out of it, and I won't have to take up so much land, which is a good thing, because especially on a smaller map like this, land is going to be hard to come by. So because it's early, let's go ahead and speed it up to 2 times speed. Cool. So with the breeding pods, and I guess I should probably put down 1 or 2 just to get them built. Ooh, that requires 10 logs. So maybe let's hold off on that for a minute. So the breeding pod requires water and berries in order to make new beavers. So as there's a little growth bar, it takes a decent amount of time to get them, but there's a little growth bar, and every so often a builder or hauler has to bring a berry and a water. A water sounds like a weird thing to say, but are we not getting logs for this? We're not, because we're demolishing it. So let's stop that. And oop, that's not what I wanted. We're gonna do this one. Cool, and we're going to mark this all as a tree cutting area. And hopefully that should get us some wood. Let's get a lumberjack flag, because yeah, we're not getting any wood. I'm glad I noticed that before we decimated that entire forest. Because we need some logs in order to get this water pump going. Because if we don't get water going soon, we are going to run out, obviously, super quick, because we don't have any stored up here. At least we started with a little bit of food, so that bought us time to get some berries collected. But for the moment, we are just kind of waiting on stuff. And now we're building, finally. So that's good. I feel really dumb that I had that set incorrectly, but such is life. Let's go ahead and get a pathway up here to start chopping down some of this stuff. Where did I mark? Okay, cool. So we'll start with that. That'll be a decent amount of wood that will get us rolling. And again, as time goes on, these trees will start to grow up a little bit. And while you know, this is only 2 logs per, but that's gonna add up over time, and I don't need a whole ton of wood to get started. Because, like, getting a dam here, that's only, what, 3 blocks wide? 3 or 4 blocks wide, so that's not a whole bunch of wood. Water to water pumps is gonna be fine. And then I do want to get, like, a food thing situated. A farmhouse is the word I was looking for. I want to get a little farmhouse situated, which, let me just do that actually real quick. So I don't necessarily know if I'm going to keep it in this particular location, but it's able to get all of the green space up here, except maybe some of this down here. I don't really care too much about that, but at least, like, this whole chunk here is all going to be able to get taken up by that. Which is good, because that means that we could just plant a relatively small, like, carrot field in here, just to kind of keep us going with food, because I do want to start saving up the berries, so that way we can start making some babies with it. And I'm thinking I'm going to have my breeding pods back here, because I'm not going to use this space for too much else. I don't think. I'll probably build houses out this way to start. Obviously, this is going to be agriculture / trees as we unlock things. But I don't really have a way to, like, expand the water out this way, at least not yet, or really anytime soon. So I'll probably have housing and industry and all that stuff kind of just be in this general area, because that's going to be the easiest to reach. So this is almost done. We are 1 log away, which is good because we're running low on water. You can see this little beaver that we're hanging out on is very low on the thirst meter. So we should start to see all of our little beaver friends going there. The other thing that I'm going to do, just put in a couple small water tanks. I don't need to go super crazy. Like, 3 of them is probably more than enough, to be honest. But I just want to make sure we have the ability to store some extra water as we can. And let's actually check real quick in on this. Cool. So we still have about half of the trees that we marked to cut down, which is fantastic. And yeah, now we're just kind of waiting a little bit. Early game can be a little bit boring because you're just waiting around a whole bunch. But I guess let's go ahead and explore a little bit and what some of the differences are between this faction and the others. Keeping in mind that we will get more detailed on things once we actually wind up, like, needing to use some of these buildings, as opposed to me just running through to kill some time with the beavers going in the background. So the big difference here is the housing. Or one of the big, there's a couple ones, but so, like, this barrack here, right? So this is a 3x2 footprint. And this is just the first level house. So it's the same size as the triple house in the Folktales, except the door is on the ground floor, which is a huge thing because that means we don't need to take up planks in order to build just one of them. And it can also hold 10, which is 1 more than the other faction can. And then we have this building here, which is the large one, but that holds up to 16. So it gets bigger, and then there's also these row houses, which I can't really show you because I don't have science, but they are a more vertical building. So they're like a 1x2 structure on the footprint-wise. So they're really good for just building things in, like, tighter spaces, and yeah, it's super cool stuff. The other thing is that they're log piles. Here, you can start stacking those up. So I can put like 3 or 4 of these on top of each other, and I don't need to waste a whole bunch of ground space on log piles as we go. Unfortunately, this faction's largest warehouse is the large warehouse. So we do not have the underground warehouse, which means that we can't store 4,000 items in one building, but the trade-offs are going to be worth it, I think, because you can do some pretty space-efficient things with the large warehouse if you actually plan for it, which I am not particularly great at. But moving on, this faction does not have any windmills. So the main power source tends to be the water wheel, and as you progress, they actually have an engine. So the engine turns 1 log into 200 horsepower. It goes through an insane amount of wood. So that's going to be something that, like, I'll have 1 or 2 of them, but, like, that's not going to power the majority of my district. The majority of my power is going to either come from these power wheels, which are the little beaver wheels, which are really inefficient because it requires a beaver to work there, and it's not a lot of power, or the water wheel. And thinking of water, let's just go ahead and place that down because I'm getting a little nervous. But yeah, so the water wheel is going to be like our main source of power. And then I think there was one other building that's slightly different. So I guess that's it. It's mostly housing and storage and power. Everything else is more or less the same except for the deep water pump, which again is fantastic because I can just build super deep like channels of water and it'll be able to reach. Uh-oh, so you can see up here, we have a drought coming in 3 days. That's super scary because we're not ready for that. So we are going to pause all of our other construction. We're going to also just tell them to just chop down even more trees. And hopefully we get that dam up in time. Because if we don't get that dam up in time, we are going to wind up perishing. Which brings me to the point. Since I'm playing hard mode with the harder faction, there is a chance that there's going to be a drought that's just going to wipe out my entire colony. And unfortunately, there's not a whole bunch that I can do about that. Well, there is. It's called planning. But if I don't plan properly, that's going to wind up happening. And if it happens, it happens. Obviously, I'm going to avoid it best I can and do things to prevent that from happening. But like, even this drought, this came a lot sooner than what I was expecting. So I didn't put an emphasis on the dam, which I should have. So there's a good chance that something like that is going to wind up happening. And especially in the hard mode, because we go through resources faster. I don't know, guys. We're cutting it pretty close, unfortunately. I don't know why this little beaver that was sitting there was just sitting there. Because we need all hands on deck for this. And you know what? Let's even... because I don't want to waste any time. Let's just mark all of this. That's going to be more than enough wood, I think. Assuming we can actually get it cut down. So yeah, I'm a little nervous. But I guess not much I can really do except for just kind of speed it up at this point and hope for the best. I'm also really hoping that this little pathway that I have is going to be enough for them to wind up reaching all the way across. Ooh, yeah, it's not looking good, guys. We're 1.5 days away, and we only have their first dam built. We do not have any water storage. We are dangerously low on food. So it's not looking too good. But we're gonna actually keep on going. We're gonna make them work throughout and hope that we don't run out of food, which it looks like we're going to. But that's easy enough. We could just put down the gatherer flag and have them collect berries for right now. Short-term solutions for long-term problems, I guess, right? I'm a little upset I forgot about the whole working hours thing until then, because if I did that sooner, there was a chance. But right now, it doesn't look like I'm really going to have a chance, because we have 1 day left, and there is I still need 25 logs. The other thing that I could do, not a huge fan of it. Let's mark all this to get cut. And maybe if I unmark this stuff, just temporarily. My only thought being that these trees are closer, so that will cut down on travel time a little bit. Hopefully. Oh, that's why, because I only have... Dang it, I only have 1 lumberjack flag. That's why I was going so slow. That should speed things up, but I don't think it's going to be enough. So, yeah, we're way too far away at this point. We need another 18 logs, and we have 0.2 days to do it. So, we just got to hope that we can get it done by the time this is good, which it doesn't look like it. Because that's already dry. There goes the rest of our river. Yep, there it goes. So I guess we're just gonna wait this out and hope for the best, but there's no way. I don't think that we make it out of this, but we're gonna speed it up and we'll knock down the working hours a little bit, because that's gonna knock down the consumption of everything, both food and water. Luckily, these few berry bushes that we have are going to survive the drought, because they're all roughly, what, 8-9 days. So that's going to be okay. But, I mean, ultimately, we're going to run out of food and water. We're already getting thirsty, and we don't have enough population to really help with that, I guess. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to do a quick cut here and speed things up. Hey, guys, it is Future Whistle here. So, as you guys are seeing play out on screen, unfortunately, we ran out of water. And food is running super low as well. So unfortunately, this particular colony did not wind up making it. I spent the last couple minutes just kind of watching it. I didn't really talk much, so here we are. So I do want to thank all of you for watching the video. It is super appreciated. If you like it, drop a like. Otherwise, think about subscribing, leave a comment, all that stuff down below. I do plan on redoing the episode and starting the series over, probably on the same map and everything, so stay tuned for that. But I wanted you guys to see the failures as well. So with that being said, I hope all of you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are at, and as always, remember to do something kind.